Ruskin is a renowned children's writer. He has written many short novels, stories, poems, and journals. He has spent most of his life in the Garhwali hill station of Missouri. Let me introduce this lesson with the Cherries song.
Cherries, cherries, eat them and put all your worries away. They are sweet and they are sour. You can have it any hour. It makes you happy and gay. Cherries, cherries, cherries. They are shiny and red. Put them in a custard or have it an ice cream. When you are done, go to bed. Cherries, cherries, eat them and put all your worries away. They are sweet and they are sour. You can have it any hour. It makes you happy and gay. Cherries, cherries, cherries. They are shiny and red. Put them in a custard or have it an ice cream. When you are done, go to bed.
One day, when Rocky was 6, she walked home from the Missouri bazaar eating cherries. They were a little sweet, a little sour, small bright red cherries that had come all the way from the Kashmir Valley. There were not many fruit trees in the Himalayan foothills of northern India where Rocky lived with their grandfather. The soil was stony, and only on the more sheltered slopes were there forests of oak and deodar. By the time Rocky reached her grandfather's cottage, there were 3 cherries left. "Have a cherry, Dada," she said when she saw her grandfather in the garden. Grandfather took a cherry and Rocky promptly ate the other 2. She kept the last seed in her mouth for a long time, rolling it around on her tongue until the tang had gone. Then she placed the seed on the palm of her hand and studied it. "Are cherry seeds lucky?" she asked. "Of course," said grandfather. "Then I'll keep it." "Nothing is lucky if you put it away. You must make it work for you." "What can I do with the seed?" "Plant it." Rocky went to the corner of the garden where the earth was soft and yielding and pressed the seed into the soil with her thumb. It went right in. When it was winter in the hills, a cold wind blew and the garden was bare. In the evenings, grandfather and Rocky sat outside near a charcoal fire and grandfather told stories about people who turned into animals, ghosts that lived in trees, and beans that jumped, and stones that weep. One spring morning, Rocky bent to pick up what she thought was a small twig in the garden and found it was rooted. She stared at it for a moment, then ran to fetch grandfather, calling, "Dada, come and look, the cherry tree has come up." Grandfather bent almost in half to peer down at the tiny tree. It was about 4 inches high. "Yes, it's a cherry tree," said grandfather. "You should water it now and then." Rocky gave it a sprinkling and circled it with pebbles. "What are the pebbles for?" grandfather asked. "For privacy," Rocky said. She looked at the tree every morning, but it did not seem to be growing. So she stopped looking at it, except once in a while, quickly out of the corner of her eye. That year, the monsoon rains came early and Rocky plodded to and from school under her umbrella. Even when it wasn't raining, the trees dripped as the mist came curling up the valley. The cherry tree grew quickly. It was about 2 feet high. When a goat entered the garden and ate the leaves, only the main stem and 2 thin branches remained. Never mind, said grandfather, seeing that Rocky was upset. It will grow again. Cherry trees are tough. Towards the end of the rainy season, new leaves appeared on the tree. Then a runaway cart rumbled down the hill and snapped the young tree into half. Will it die? Asked Rocky. It might, admitted grandfather. But the cherry tree did not die. By the time summer came around again, it had sent out several new shoots. Even when there was rain, Rocky would sometimes water the tree. She wanted it to know that she was there. One day, Rocky found a hairy caterpillar on the tree. It was making a meal of the leaves. The girl removed it quickly and dropped it over the wall. Come back when you are a butterfly, she said. One February, it was Rocky's birthday. She was 10 and the tree was nearly 4 but taller than the girl. Then on a sunny morning, grandfather came into the garden to let some warmth get into my old bones, as he put it. He stopped in front of the cherry tree, stared at it for a few moments and called out, Rocky, come and look. Rocky dashed over to see a pale pink blossom at the end of a branch. They gazed at this little miracle. The following year, there were more blossoms. The tree overshadowed Rocky, even though it was less than half her age. That summer, there were small cherries on the tree. Rocky tasted one and spat it out. It's too sour, she said. They'll be better next year, grandfather replied. One afternoon, Rocky went to the garden and rested beneath the tree. She gazed up through the leaves at the blue dome of the sky. She could see the mountain disappearing into clouds. She was still lying beneath the tree when the evening shadows crept across the garden. Grandfather came and sat down, and they waited in silence until the stars came out. Just one small seed, said Rocky, and she touched the smooth bark of the tree she had grown. She ran her hand along the branch and put her finger to the tip of a leaf. How we change, she said. Just like you, smiled grandfather. Night settled on the foothills and Rocky looked at the tree spread against the starry sky. She said to herself, one day I'll tell my children how Dada and I planted this tree many years ago when I was 6.